So, switching gears this week, for those of you that don't know, I work with Modern Om. I'm the lead meditation there. I've been with them since almost the very, very beginning, like short of 6 months. And since working with them, I have established a new theme every single week based off of the chakra centers, based off of the energy centers, the neural network centers, the sacred centers. I've called it so many different things in the last 2.5 weeks since we started these meditations. But yeah, essentially around the themes of the chakras. Now, last week, if you were tuning in, you would have seen that we were on chakra number 6, which is the chakra of insight, the third eye, the ability to see things for how they really are, like the real knowledge. And took it in lots of different concepts and directions. And last Sunday we even did a walking meditation, which you can tune into onto YouTube. I think I also have a little segment of it on that I posted here, just to get us moving into what it means to see things for as they really are, rather than applying meaning to them. And so this week we are on the 7th chakra, the chakra that is commonly known as the chakra of enlightenment, of connection, of the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra. It's like the hardest thing to say, Sahasrara. In many lineages, they don't really talk about, what happens when you open it, because being that it is an enlightenment chakra, one thing that impedes us on our path towards enlightenment is making enlightenment itself a destination, an ambition, when the only way to really get to enlightenment is to let go, is to surrender all of your ambitions, including the ambition of achieving enlightenment, at least in this lifetime. Why? Because that little part of us is this competitive nature that is identifying ourselves with our personality, that is identifying ourselves with this idea that we are separate from others, that we are separate from divine consciousness, that we aren't already living the path of enlightenment in this very moment. As we speak, as we walk, as we're going through all of these different changes in the world and society on the planet. To make enlightenment the very peak of the mountain is to say that there is an end game to all of this. And in order to even get a fragment of what that enlightenment guru-like experience is, it means living in the moment. It means finding that perspective of interconnectedness, of union in every single moment, that it's not something that's going to happen in the future. It's not something that we had in the past. It's not something that someone else has and that we don't. That all of us, through our process of rising consciousness, that we are all on that same path. That in the end, our dharma, that's the divine destiny, it is all the same. In Buddhist meditation, they call it, in the Buddhist lineages, they call it Dhamma. That all of us are on the same path to Dhamma. Dhamma is the idea that we are all heading into heaven, nirvana, loving awareness, that eventually all of our fear, all of our idea of separateness is going to heal. In the Course of Miracles, they call it the atonement. So I am a Course of Miracles student. You can see that I have it here on my shelf. I do a lesson every single day. I've already gone through all 365 of them once, and now I'm on my second cycle of it, 300 and something. And the entire course, this big old thick book here of the Course in Miracles, it's essentially just a book that is explaining that miracles are not in disagreement with the laws of nature. In fact, that nature in and of itself, and all of its actions and all of its processing, is the miracle. And it is the nature of existence for us to be able to experience, manifest, and create miracles. However, this can only occur when we're able to find the miracle in the present moment, no matter what that moment may be. This is only able to occur when we're able to heal and find that atonement within ourselves of shifting the mindset of cause and effect and desire and resistance, and accept things for the miracle that it is right now, here today, and be comfortable with it, and be more than comfortable with it, be loving towards it, be accepting, knowing that this is all part of the design. And that's why I know that I'm going to be a lifetime student of the Course in Miracles. Because it takes a lot for us to shift out of all of this conditioning that we've had our entire lives of, this is the way that the world works, this is the way that this is exactly what this means, this is what leads to that. And our 2 million year old brain is based off of our very kind of necessary habit of fear, making sure we don't get hurt, making sure we survive. And what this course teaches, and what all of these very enlightened spiritual courses teach, is that final judgment, that final transition that we call death, is simply the death of our ego. It's simply the death of who we thought we were. And that from there, the spirit, that loving awareness, is eternal. It's internal in our moment-to-moment daily lives. That spirit of enlightenment is already within us. That's what brings us to these paths, is we're slowly remembering who and what we really are. But we're constantly judging all of our actions. Oh, this isn't what an enlightened person would do, rather than just being and doing and having that loving awareness inspired life, loving awareness inspired choices. So yesterday, where I was actually reading the text of Course in Miracles, which I haven't done in a long time because it's like reading the Bible and it's really heavy, but we're in a heavy time, so it kind of was a lot easier to understand. What I read yesterday was basically the Course speaks from the perspective of the Holy Spirit, Jesus, Creator, etc. And what did the verse say? The verse said that we are not responsible, or we think we are not responsible for our thoughts. We think we are not responsible for our feelings. We live in this state of being victims to these experiences. That's why so many people say, I can't meditate, my mind is too messy. So we think we have no control over this. But we wouldn't say that we're not responsible for our actions, when in fact, it's kind of the other way around. Course teaches us that what we are responsible is our feelings. First and foremost, before the thoughts, we are responsible for how we feel, how we react, how we perceive. And in order to get to that experience of how we want to feel, first we got to remember how it feels, and then we are responsible for those thoughts that lead to it. So yesterday's meditation, if you tune into it, I'm going to be posting it up on YouTube soon. It was talking about being able to examine the mind, observe which thoughts are creative and which ones are destructive. That there is no middle ground. There's no neutral thought. That's another thing the Course in Miracles teaches us. There is no neutral thoughts. There's either destructive or there's creative. Now, our mind plays tricks on us. It tries to tell us that we have these constructive thoughts, also known as constructive criticism. But either way, these are still destructive. Why? Because they're telling us that we are not good enough. These thoughts are telling us that how we are, how we think, what we are doing is not good enough. And so in yesterday's meditation, we went through being able to understand that no, the mind in and of itself is developed of enlightenment, of loving awareness. And that even those thoughts that are destructive, they are well-intentioned in order for us to become who we really are. It's just that we were taught at such a young age of how to think and how to verbalize, and our parents, our society didn't give us exactly the best tools of how to speak to ourselves. And so what we learn to do is to take those thoughts, look at the intention behind it, and then revert them to a more constructive way of verbalizing or thinking, which then becomes a creative thought. Because that loving awareness has one power that is magnificent beyond what, as far as we know, any other species on this planet has, and that is the power to create. That we all have that godliness-like quality. Like, I believe that we're all here training to be able to step into that creatorship, like the grand creatorship, not just what we're doing day to day, that we are all gods in training, gods and goddesses in training. And that in order to be a god or goddess, first we have to embrace and accept this loving awareness, which defies space and time, which defies the idea of the special relationship and soulmate, and defies the idea that anyone can ever hurt you, that anyone can ever hurt me, that the only thing that ever hurts us is our own fear. And so, coming back around to the point, then in the course, in yesterday's text that I was reading, the Course in Miracles, this Holy Spirit challenges us to renounce the fruits of our actions, renounce our actions that in and of themselves, that any, quote, bad action that we're taking is a result of unskillful thinking. And Buddhism teaches the same thing, and yoga teaches the same thing, that with right feeling, that with right thinking, that if we allow the universe, if we allow God, if we allow spirit, if we allow loving awareness to take control again, in other words, surrender into these powers around us, into the flow of what's happening, with our loving awareness being the fuel and the intention and the creative power, the Shakti, that what we really want and what we really think about will be developed. However, we first need to learn to control that intention, control that will. We first need to learn to control then the expression of that intention and that will. So that's why we do the 7 chakras. That's why we go through first establishing what it is that we really need, what it is that we really need provided for us to have that sense of vitality, to survive and to feel balanced and supported. The earth energy. And then we need to go into, okay, what do I like? What do I dislike? What is my personality made up of? And that's where all of our samskaras, our memories, and our impressions lies in this 2nd chakra, that we learn about indulgence, we learn about sexual gratification, we learn about creativity and our passions in life. And then after we kind of have a good idea of how to just be content with whatever, because all of that feeling of indulgence does not come from external stimulation, as much as we'd like to think it does. It comes from internal. Then we have, okay, what is my purpose? What is my place in this? What am I going to do with this? What is this fire deep within me that's lighting up right underneath my eyes, that's going to actually get me moving every single day beyond contentment into joy? And then, okay, then we've got the heart chakra. Okay, what are these grievances? What are these walls around my endless supply of loving awareness that are holding me back? What are these memories that are clinging on to the scar tissues of my heart that are not allowing it to beat with the clear resonating sound of a tribal drum, and letting that go? And then we get to, okay, now that we have all of this, we've got everything set up, how am I expressing it? And that's when we start to learn and examine what our thoughts are telling us, and the way that we're speaking to others, and the way that we communicate through all these different relationships in our lives, the way we communicate with ourselves, the way we communicate with our loved ones, and mostly the way we communicate with the ones that maybe we don't love so much. And learning to establish this very healthy flow of loving awareness even with them. And then the 6th chakra, which we did last week, which was stepping into that space of understanding things as they really are and embracing them for as they really are, along with all of this, and finding a way to let all of that internal light that we've been building through the process of understanding all of the lower vibrations of emotion, so that we can be a shining light in this world, so we can be a glowing ember that, while united, standing together, darkness can't even exist, that we don't have to fight darkness anymore. Why? Because this candle here, it doesn't have to fight. That fire that we have within us, that glow, all it has to do is step into a dark room and all of a sudden, darkness does not exist anymore. When you are the light in your own life, there is no shadow cast anywhere from anyone. The shadow is simply cast behind them. It's a really good Tool song, by the way. 46 and 2, check it out. Anyway, and then we get into what would be a spontaneous opening of the seventh chakra of Sahasrara, of that understanding that you are not special because you've done all this, that every single one of us is on that same path of remembering who we are, that we are all cut from the same cloth. Every single one of us, the great cloth of creation, of stardust, of molecules. We are all miracles made up of the same particles. And therefore, as enlightened as you might think you are, if you think that you are different than anyone else, you still have more work to do. Rather, understanding that now that you've reached this level, how can you help? How can you stay connected and remind others that you're connected to them no matter what caste that they're in, no matter what economic space that they're in, no matter what race they're in fact, no matter what species they're in, that every single thing on this planet is cut from the same cloth because there's nothing else to be cut out of. And with that understanding, like truly, not just the concept, not just the intellectual understanding that we all have, but really that experiential understanding that comes from self-study and studying the way that we move and work through our worlds, and how our feelings affect our thoughts, and how our thoughts affect our actions, and how our actions then have a global effect, which we now know to be absolutely true based off of what this teeny tiny little microorganism has done to shift the entire course of this planet in a little under 4 months. Now we can understand what that butterfly effect is, and we can spontaneously arise from our cocoon. So when that opens, it's a spontaneous opening of Sahasrara, and then we connect to truth. Then we connect to divine consciousness, not just high consciousness, but that divine consciousness and understanding. And then we can access what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the quantum field, where time and space no longer exist. It is simply vibration of particles and atoms that we can, through shifting our vibration, which is shifting our feelings, shifting those emotions to be less of sad, happy, glad, but more of just what that energetic vibration feels like, and transform ourselves not only for who we are right now, but transmit ourselves into the reality that we oh so desire, that heaven, that nirvana. So it's a lifetime work, and it is a miracle, but I just know that we are on the right path. We're there. We just need to keep on moving and treading the course. We are all these seeds that were buried underneath this murky water, living in darkness, knowing that they're just feeling inherently that there is sun shining above us, and that eventually we made our way through the mud of darkness and despair, and now we're still working our way up through these cold waters with all of the shifting of the currents and trying to figure out the way, but our stems are growing stronger. They're getting stronger. Our roots are growing deeper. We are becoming even more supported by the earth itself. Although it seems that maybe to some people that we're not, that we're getting rejected, that is the contrary of what we are being shown right now, that the earth supports us so much that she's sending us all back into our homes to reconnect with what's really important, so that we still have a place to live. And eventually we're going to be able to, I'm getting emotional, eventually we're going to be able to make it through. And that lotus blossom that all of us are is going to open up right at the crown of our head, open up to the beautiful sunshine that is giving us life, that is giving us happiness, that is giving us joy in this beautiful experience right here on earth. So I ended up talking for about 20 minutes longer than I thought I was going to. But it leads into what our meditation is today. So the Buddhist meditation that we're going to do, the mantra is Om Mani Padme Hum. And my understanding of that mantra is the jewel of enlightenment is within the lotus. And I always kind of overthought it, overanalyzed it. I've got this blue lotus tea that makes you super sleepy, and they say that the Egyptian blue lotus flower is a psychedelic. Oh, maybe that's what it's about, psychedelics. Yeah, leave it to me to leave it to plant medicine to explain everything. But what I really think was the intention is sitting in stillness and allowing yourself to grow is the jewel of enlightenment. That light that is within us while we sit in stillness is the same light as the light of the sun. It's stardust. And we are connected and shining brightly. And so that mantra is Om Mani Padme Hum. Sorry, I'm going to turn off this music. Om Mani Padme Hum. And if you have a mala, you can use your mala in order to chant Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Or if you don't, then you can simply sit with your palms facing up, fingers touched together, and close your eyes. And all we're going to do is chant Om Mani Padme Hum together. We'll start off vocalizing it. And then we'll allow that vocalization to diminish into a whisper. And then from that whisper, it's going to go just into the sound of our own internal voice. And then that internal voice eventually is going to fade, and we're still going to feel the rhythm of this chanting. But then we're going to sit in mindful awareness of our thoughts, allowing them to begin. Allowing ourselves to notice the thoughts that are currently creating future actions, knowing that we are all connected through the laws of nature and the universe of loving awareness, and that whatever it is that we are thinking about, nature is going to multiply it. Whatever it is that we're feeling, our thoughts are going to react to, and then nature is going to multiply it. So, rather than trying to suppress any thoughts that arise, we're going to observe the thought, knowing that the intention behind it is good, that the intention behind it is in order to help us get to Dhamma, get to our destiny of enlightenment. And see if we can just kind of reword it in the way that you would think your highest consciousness, basically speaking to your best friend that lives with you, the one that's inside your mind, and reestablishing the dialogue, and then coming back to remind yourself, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. To remind yourself that you are the jewel of enlightenment. You are the lotus. And you're just making your way up through the current until we can see the light of day again. So when you are ready, close your eyes. Hi, Uncle Alan. Sit up straight and tall. And for those of you that missed the talk, that's okay. This story will be live. Talk is important. So after you're done with your meditation, go back and look at it. Turn your palms facing up. Allow your index finger and your thumb to connect lightly. Let's just take a few moments to breathe naturally and spontaneously. Releasing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Softening the shoulders. And then if you have a mala, you can take it into your right hand. And before we begin, I'd put the mala between my ring finger and my thumb. We don't want the index finger to touch it, that's ego. Take the palms together and we're going to open with one Om. And when we do, I want you to open that sense of hearing, really listen. Open that psychic hearing and really listen to the other 5 people that are joining you across the globe, and then the others that are going to be watching this video later on, allowing that idea of space and time to dissolve, and just feel that vibration through the quantum field, eliminating our perception of separateness. After the next inhale, let's Om together. Take a deep breath in. Take your left hand back down to your knee. Right hand, you can keep it at the heart with the mala or take it to your knee. If you don't have a mala, just take your hand back to your knee, palm facing up. Let's begin. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Keep mentally chanting, matching the internal voice to the tone of the singing bowl, allowing us all to meet on the same frequency. you haven't yet finished with the mantra, that's okay. Put the mala back around your neck. Bring your palms together at heart center. And visualize your whole body as being a lotus bud, closed, not quite blossomed yet, but holding within it all of this light, all of this life force, energy, love, knowledge, and awareness. The same life force energy that gave your seed the ability, the spontaneous effort and power to spring forth through all of that mud and rise to the surface, out of the darkness. That same life force energy that came from the lotus before you, that received its energy from the sun above. Knowing that you're about to blossom, that potential force is twitching at the starting line, ready to explode, to erupt, releasing your light upon the world. And that it's okay for now to slow down, to take the time to enjoy these moments, to ensure that when that creative power is unleashed, it is unleashing these feelings of compassion, of support, of strength, of purpose, and of divine loving awareness. So that all that is connected with us will multiply that and raise the frequency, raise the vibration, raise the consciousness of the whole global community. And after the next inhale, let us close with one Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. Thank you so much, everybody. Hari Om Tat Sat, Namaste, and Aho, Aho. Ah, that was wonderful. So, does anyone have anything they'd like to share about their experience? I'll open up the floor to you. If not, then just know that yes, I'm going to be doing these practices whether I get donations or not, but donations are accepted. Any little bit helps. My donation tip jar right now, I'm just using Venmo, and it's Jasmine-Russell-1. If you'd like more, if you'd like the direct link to it, then I can send it to you. And $5, whatever, everything, any of it'll work to help me to keep on doing things, to help feed Kiki, and eventually all of that, those funds will be will be used to start a foundation to help those that are really struggling through this new shift. Children that rely on unschooled lunches, parents that are out of job that need daycare so that they can work while their kids are studying at home. Anything to help these families. So every little bit helps. And otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow morning, 7:30, back to normal time. Such a pleasure. Thank you all for inspiring me to keep on going and keep on doing all that I do. I love you.